In less than a week, I'll be standing on stage in front of over 1,000 college students speaking to them. And even though I'm very hip and cool, I'm a cool cat, as you can tell, I speak to them very differently than I do on Sunday mornings to my primetimers class that's mainly composed of those who are 60 and above. Why? Why different? Different seasons of life, different interests, different experiences, different education levels. It's not the same audience. And that's why here in the fourth block of the monetization matrix, we're going to be talking about your audience. Now, here's the thing with the audience, the shift that we want to make is that we want to move from being a small fish in a big pond to being a big fish in a small pond. And you do that with your audience. You do it by targeting them, really drilling down, and making sure that you are meeting their needs. So what's the best way to do that? It's really to do a deep dive into your industry and into the type of customer that you feel like you can help best. Which audience members can you help absolutely the best? And the way you dive into this is that you look at these aspects of 3 fears, 3 frustrations, 3 aspirations, and 3 qualifications. And you absolutely have to sit down and make this list. And you may start with 10 of each, but you want to get down to the top 3. For example, I've done a lot of public speaking training in my career. And when we look at this and say, what are 3 fears? Well, the 3 fears are things along the lines of, I'm going to freeze. I'm going to be so nervous that my voice stutters. I'm going to forget where I am and lose my place in my notes. You know, since public speaking fear is so huge, right? So 3 frustrations. I don't really know how to organize my talk. I don't really know what's going to be best for that particular crowd. And I really do not have enough experience to do a great job in this limited time frame. So there can be some frustrations. The aspirations. Aspirations are things like a standing ovation, or people coming up afterwards and asking you to speak to at another event, or simply somebody coming up and going, man, that was a great job. It was great information. You remember when I said that great content never has a bad day? Even if you're not a great presenter, you can have great content and people can still come up and give a compliment. So that's an aspiration. And then the qualification is really in areas of currency. When it comes to money, when it comes to effort, when it comes to time, where are all these things anchored within your people? Because what's most important for them? So like for a public speaker, it's more about effort and time than it is money, right? So that's the constraint for them. So you got to make those lists to really dive into your audience and figure them out, because that's how you're going to meet your need. And I believe most of those things, the 3 fears and frustrations, aspirations, qualifications, came from Matt Church. I remember reading that years ago, and you may want to dive into that just a little bit deeper. But that's the overall view, is what are their greatest fears? What's going to happen to them if they don't reach this goal, if they don't get this problem solved? What's the frustration? What is holding them back? What's preventing them from getting to the place that they want to get? What's the aspiration? If they make it to the end of the road, if they get the result, what's the big thing they're waiting for them? How is their life going to be different? How's it going to change? How's it going to become better? And then what's the qualification? What's impeding them on the currency front? Is it money? Is it effort? Is it time? So you think about even this online business realm, most people are selling all 3 of those. They're selling the aspiration of you're going to have a ton of money and you're not going to work that much. They sell also ease. So the effort is solved as well. And the time shrinks of how quickly they're going to get you to the finish line, right? So you'll see this over and over in offers. In fact, if I were you, not that you would buy anything, make sure you watch the episode of the shiny object syndrome. But instead of buying anything, go and look at the average sales page for some of these $2,000 online business courses, and you're going to find the fears, the frustrations, the aspirations, qualifications, all of that's going to be in there. So you can go in and dissect it. And if you're in a similar market, that's a great shortcut. You can go and look at, they've already done the work. They've done the copy. Don't steal their copy. They've done the work into the audience. And what that does is it builds an identity. And what you want is when that particular group comes to your website or comes to your page, that they see themselves. They recognize their fears. They recognize their frustrations. They recognize their aspirations. And they recognize the qualifications. So they're self-identifying. And when they self-identify, you're not having to sell them, They are willingly and excitedly ready to take that next step because they know this is for them, because they see so much of themselves in that. So this week, make sure that you're really diving into your audience, building out those different layers of your avatar. I just like to say audience instead of avatar, so that you're really dialing in who you're going to be communicating with. And then here's the next little piece, is that what most people do in their businesses is they spend a majority of their time on their offer, or what I call avenue, the way they're going to make money. They spend most of their time creating their product, most of their time trying to figure out what affiliate product that they want to represent, most of their time trying to figure out how to do a website or an email list. They're spending all their time on these avenue elements and a very small amount of time on their audience or their marketing element, because marketing is not only going to include your audience, but how you attract them and how you acquire them. And that's the lane that you really need to be spending the majority of your time on. So your audience should really be minimum 80, maybe 90% of your time is connecting with your audience. And just a small fraction of your time, once your offer's done, and once we get the product, it shouldn't really take that long. But once your offer's done, your avenue is done, time has got to be spent solely on the on the audience. I know so many people that focus on their avenue, and they're spending just hours a week perfecting their copy, perfecting their product, and it just gets out of hand. All right, so there's the overview of the audience. A couple of questions here. Number one is from Jerry, and he is working with Christian husbands to really help them bring a lot of joy and fun and excitement to their marriage. And he has a group of about 30 guys that's just, I think, local, that he ministers to, and they just come up with ideas. He supplies an idea of a fun activity to do with their wives for this week. And he was asking, should I turn this into a membership site? Is this an avenue and a path that I could go down? And I believe absolutely you can. Now, it's hard to convert maybe those 30 who are used to getting it for free, so I might let them in for free and then get them to tell other guys about it, so that when they've got an idea of what they're doing that night, so they're at work and they're talking to one of their co-workers, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? I'm doing such and such for my wife. Well, that's a little bit unusual. That's more than just going out to eat. It sounds like you've done something special. Yeah, I'm part of this group put together by Jerry, and he does X, Y, and Z. Here's the website. You need to go there and sign up. It's just $10 a month. It's just $10 a month. Remember, well, some of you guys who've been with me a long time, I talk about forgettable pricing and I talk about recurring need. We'll hit that more when we get down into the monetization section. But with that, it's just that constant using these 30 for referrals to begin with. And then certainly you can go online and market that and get even more people signed up. But as far as $10 a month, and you're wanting to give them about 2 or 3 ideas a week to make their marriage better as a Christian husband, I think that's the hook. Because now you've defined your audience, Christian husbands. You defined what they're aspiring to. They want to become better. They want to have a fun marriage, an exciting marriage. So you've got a lot of those things. I would also, Jerry, go ahead and make a list of those 3 fears, their 3 frustrations. And one of those frustrations is they're not creative, right? You're solving that. And then the aspirations, their wife can't wait for them to come home, or they get home together at the same time, or they got opposite work schedules, and yet they're able to find that quality time in a minimum amount of time. So there's a lot of those facets that you can really dive into. All right, so then there's a question from Benny. And Benny's owned a furniture store for a lot of years. His family has since the 70s, but he's also had the opportunity to help small business owners get loans, especially for business owners that it's been a challenge for them through traditional lending. And he's wanting to know, how in the world can I get more online leads for this? Well, first of all, you got to understand, Benny, that if you're paying for leads online in this particular sector, they're going to be crazy level expensive. And so I'd probably go more of the social media route. I would build up more my personality. I would get testimonials from business owners that I'd helped. And I would go a lot more of the route of creating the expert type of scene for you. So I definitely hit that. Another thing that a lot of people aren't doing anymore for some reason, because online's so popular, is to go offline, just with a postcard. You can go to a place like Info USA, or I can't remember the other one. I want to say it's Sales Genie, but I think that's wrong. But you can rent a mailing list, and I would rent it of a specific business owner size in a specific sector. So if you know this particular industry has a tough time getting loans and businesses of this size have a tough time getting loans, but I think I can help them, I would rent that list, put together a postcard, mail it to them, and then I would follow up with a phone call to see if they need financing. Now, is that some legwork? Absolutely. But it's going to be so much less expensive than online. So let's say that you get in the mail for 30 to 50 cents per piece. Online, those same leads, on the low end per click might be, it depends on the platform. I've seen some just crazy numbers like $10, $25. If you're buying leads from somebody, you could be buying those for $100 per lead. So I think that renting a list, getting in the mail with a postcard could be something that could work really well for you. And obviously, since I know you, brother, just come up to me at church, ask me some questions, and we can nail that down a little bit more if you want to. Anyway, guys, hey, thanks for coming out again. Work on your audience. Work on those 3 sectors or 4 sectors of 3s right there, and make sure that you dive in, really nail it, really get to understand it. And then next time we're going to be talking about how to attract them. How do we pull that in? Where do we get our traffic from? Things along those lines. And again, this is going to be surface level. But then in the future, when you got questions specifically about how to get traffic for your niche, just turn those in. And if you got any questions right now, turn them in at freeonlinecoachingclub@gmail.com, freeonlinecoachingclub@gmail.com, and I'll feature you here on the show. Usually it's just the first name. If you want to change your name to something else, feel free to do that as well. As always, success is not an accident. Be blessed.